Hey guys, welcome to Tickzon, where we try to turn our hindsight into your foresight. Welcome here, and my name is Ugo. I hope you're having a lovely day. I hope you're blessed, and welcome to the video. Now, obviously, we're talking today about how to choose your career, and there's different ways to go about it. So, obviously, kind of like a prelude. I understand. It's a bit long. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do in my life. What is my career going to be? What am I actually going to do in my life? And everyone's asking you the question, what are you going to do? Hugo, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Have you decided what you're going to do with your life? Your parents are coming here like, you know, the African, look at your mates. Look at your mates. You're over here, and your mates are out there doing something with their life. So what are you doing? What are you doing? What about you? What are you doing? How's it going? I'm joking. You don't do that. Don't do that. Everyone has different life choices. Understand? Don't ever clown people. But in terms of choosing your career or choosing what you want to do with your life as opposed to a career, there's different ways to go about it. There's actually no real straight and narrow path of this is what I'm going to do. Now the truth of the matter is, I remember I was doing like a work experience or something not too long ago, and I was saying, look, I understand. I felt it as well. You know, I know it is what it is. It's peak. You're very young, and now someone's asking you what you're supposed to do with the rest of your life. Like, you haven't even lived as long as the amount of time you're actually going to work. You know, you're deciding at 16, you're probably working at 40 years. 60 years in this life, trying to decide what am I going to do with the rest of my life, because you deep it, you start probably making a decision at sixth form because at GCSE, because now that decides what you're going to do in sixth form. And if you're doing like science subjects in sixth form, then you can't really, you know, you can maybe jump into the arts and maybe change it to law, but it's one of those ones, you get what I mean? If you choose that you want to do English, lit and all that kind of stuff, you can't just change up and now say I want to do maths, chemistry and physics. It don't work that way. It don't work that way. But so it's peak. But ultimately it's peak. But the truth of the matter is, you have to make a decision, and it's important that you make that decision for yourself. But ultimately, at the same time, seek counsel, which is why you're low-key in this video. So we're just going to give you some little tips and things to understand about choosing your career. Now, before I tell you and let you guys understand, for me, in terms of my choosing my career, obviously, I chose to do mechanical engineering. Now I'm within the engineering industry, within the transport industry, within Heathrow Airport. So they take that as you are, system specialist out here. Promotion things. But you know, there was a time where I had came at a crossroads of whether I wanted to do law because I like debating, and whether I wanted to do engineering. And ultimately, I chose engineering as where I want to go to. Now, you have to understand. In terms of choosing your career, there's no defined route about choosing your career. There's different kinds of ways to choose your career, and there's different kind of ways to live. Now, that I'll allude to after I make this point. So, the first thing you want to identify within choosing your career, or choosing what you want to do with your life, which is basically what we're asking, what people are asking us when they tell us what we do with our career. When we ask you to do with your life, the first thing you go to is your interests. Now, what's your interest? What are the things you're actually interested in doing? In terms of, like, not like I'm interested in engineering, but do you like problem solving? Do you like fixing stuff? Do you like to be analytical? Do you like helping people? Maybe you want to do human resources. Do you like, photography? Maybe you do media studies, communications, photography, all of that kind of stuff. What is your interest? So you start off by, what am I interested in terms of basic skills, in terms of little things I like doing? I like organizing. Then maybe you want to look at business. You want to look at business management or something like that, project management. Do I like to boss people around? Do I like to be in a more team environment? Do I like to, if you look at your skills, not your skills, but if you like to look at your interests, then if you will have like bigger ideals and goals in terms of you want to change society, you want to change your country, then you want to think, okay, in those interests, what aspect do you want to change those places in? If you want to, you're interested in helping people, how do you want to help people? And then you decide via that avenue. Is it politics? Is it, healthcare? Do you want to be a doctor? Is you want to be a physiotherapist? One way other people use to choose their career is based on something that happened to them personally, in terms of somewhat a traumatic event, saying, okay, someone in their family had cancer, that's why they became a cancer doctor. You get what I'm trying to say. Then the next thing you want to look at is, where do your skills lie? do you actually have the skills to do these things? In terms of, if you say you want to be, make the Iron Man suit, are you good at maths? Are you good at physics? Are you good at problem solving, intricacy, chemistry, biology, interfacing, all that kind of stuff? Then you want to look at your skills. The second thing, because sometimes we may want to do something, but we don't actually have the skills to do it. Now the question is now, can I bridge those gaps in those skills, whether it's during sixth form, extra learning, all those kind of things, or is it that case of which, my interest and my skills may not line up? Because truth of the matter is, people say do what you love, but it's not actually the best advice. They always say do what you love. Sometimes it's better to do what you're good at, so that you can give yourself the space and the facility and the foundation to actually do what you love. If you don't have the skills and the things to do what you love right now, then you have to give yourself time to develop those skills. And if you can't develop them in the short term, let's say you want to start your own business, it's probably smarter for you just to work, get the money to start your own business, depending on, unless you're someone who knows how to get the investment. Now, we've talked about your interest and then understanding your skills. Then understand, in terms of career, the next thing you want to understand, which is what I alluded to previously, was in terms of career steps, the understanding you have to make a decision, but you don't have to make all the decisions right now. Now, there's different styles in terms of people within the industry, or within corporate life, or within working life. Back in the day, everybody used to choose what they wanted to do, choose one company, and that was it. They were there for life, 40 years, 30 years, good pension, all of that stuff. Now, if you ask people right now what's happening here, about 3 to 5 years, people change careers. I know somebody, she's jumped from one industry to another every 3 to 5 years. There's no real, you don't have to decide everything now. You kind of want to decide your first bus stop in your life. It's rare now that you're going to actually see people who go into the industry and work with one company for 20 years straight. Now, even if you were to ask people who are 30 years old now, what are you trying to do with your life? Most of them still can't answer the question. Even myself, we still want to answer, what do we want to do with our life? Ultimately, you want to make the decision on kind of the bigger things. Do I want to do engineering? Do I want to do golf management, sports, business, music, that industry? And then in terms of your niche that you go into, you never know. Obviously, I've now assistant specialist within Heathrow. I didn't know I was going to be assistant specialist, handling systems and all that, Mr. Engineer and that. But you kind of choose the overall arching where you want to do your career, and then go into this. I know I want to go into engineering because problem solving. So for example, I said I was choosing between law and engineering. Now, I have a very big interest in law. I like debating. I'm a big thing about justice. But that was my interest. And also I had problem solving. I liked building and making things, so that's engineering. But in terms of my skills, I don't like reading. I don't like reading. I read a lot and I listen a lot and audio visual, but I don't like reading unless I'm motivated to read. And so the amount of things people read for law, in terms of reading cases, all that stuff, they might read 200 pages when they need to. I saw my friends getting ready for seminars. Ugo's not reading that much. Now I realized my skills wasn't going to match my interest, and realized that I would be actually at a disadvantage going into law because I wouldn't be able to hack it. My guy could read a book a day if he needed to. My man was just reading. That's not me. I'm good at maths. I could stay here for 2 hours solving maths problems and stuff like that. Problem solving. I could stay here building, doing carpentry for a week because it interests me, and that my skills also back that up. I can, if you need some work, I don't mind. I'll make a couple extra bucks on the side, slide the peas in my account. But that's my interest / my skills meeting. The other thing you want to consider in terms of picking your career is, of course, the earning potential within your career, and what are your options. So then first, obviously, the earning potential is obviously, the truth of the matter is, and in a future video we're going to talk about the conversation of money, but it does matter. So depending on the kind of life you want to live, in terms of where you need to go to kind of, in terms of whatever career you go into, or whatever the course you decide to do, understand what the earning potential is within that, and where it is for you to kind of grow and kind of excel in that sense, but in a financial sense, but also in a career status sense. Now, obviously, in terms of the next one, in terms of your options, what are the options in terms of your career? So the skills you get from this, can you use it into something else? What is the barrier of entry if you wanted to do a complete career change and you wanted to go from, I've seen people go from art to finance, from finance to software development, all that kind of stuff, just doing courses here or there, or just somebody giving them a chance. So what are your options in terms of career? And just understanding that whatever your plan A for your career is, you should have a plan B. But just because, for the fact that, let's say if you're going to choose university and you're going to choose a course, that's your plan A. But what's your plan B in terms of course? Even if you get that course, and let's say you do engineering and you want to go into, let's say, cars or something like that, you want to go into manufacturing. What happens if you apply and you don't get jobs in those sectors? What is your plan B? Is it going to be like a asset management company? Is it going to be a different kind of company? And just understand that. I always tell people, if you're going to make a plan, your plan needs to be flexible and adaptable to change with the times, because things are going to change. Things are just going to change. So there's no guarantee that whatever you want for yourself is going to be what's going to happen. So take the anxiety out from it. Just plan for that in terms of work towards your goal, but have a plan B in terms of, okay, cool, if I don't get this for my first uni, going to the second uni still allows me to do boom, boom, boom. I know you throw all your chips into A and you should work that way, but you should understand that B is a safe bet, not like a failure in your eyes. In terms of your career, yes, same thing. If you're doing your career, in the beginning of your career, you're probably not going to be doing what you love. You're going to do what you need to do. Similar, like I said earlier in terms of, well, in the previous video, you might have to do hard times of doing what you need to do before you can now start doing what you love. So it's not necessarily you be able to choose your career based on what you love. Now, when you start off in your career, let's say you finish university, you just started working, the first few years, you shouldn't be chasing too much of like, okay, this is what I want to do in my life kind of thing. You should just be chasing, let me get some knowledge, let me get some money, let me build a foundation. Let me build some contacts, let me have a network so I can know that I can now navigate through this and actually jump from here to here. Just because in the beginning it's all about getting experience, and what you understand, what I understood coming out of university, is that your degree is only a key to get you through the door, but once you get through the door, it doesn't matter. It's about the experience that you have. And also, like we also say, in terms of your career, depending on how young you are, the truth of the matter is, as you get older, you have less time. So if there's some dreams or stuff you want to do as you go along in life, going through, you might have parallel plans. You may be, let's say, working at uni, but on the side, also be looking for the opportunities to have to pursue your dreams, because as you get older, you will have less time to achieve those. But at the same time, I tell people, if you're doing your side hustle, don't forget about your main job while you're doing your side hustle. Because some people put in their side hustle, but they forget that the main job is finding their dreams. And the truth is, everybody will have an opportunity at some point in their life to pursue something of their passion or something that they want. The question of whether you take that is up to you, and life may not give you a second chance to get those opportunities. But the truth of the matter is, there is no future I will have time. At some point, it's less about the opportunity for you to chase what you want and do, and you have to do what you need to do to survive, put money or food on the table, because at some point, something that comes for all of us is rent. At some point, no matter how long you're staying at home, at some point you're going to come for rent or contribution at home or mortgage, all those things. So bills just get higher and time becomes less. And that's the reason why in the beginning of your career, depending on what you're doing, you may have to work in something that you don't necessarily enjoy, so that you can now have the skills to now go into something you do enjoy. Especially if you start a company new, you're not going to be working on the high level stuff. I want to be CEO. You got to do 10 years or 5 years to get that CEO position. So learn what you need to learn and understand the overarching goal. So your career is different things. You have to understand, you can jump in, you can be a one industry person, you can go into different sectors every 3-5 years. You can just go with the flow, knowing that, let's say you want to be in engineering, technology or computer, but you don't know the full scope of what careers are out there. Now the truth is, you probably don't know all the careers that are out there. You need to widen your horizon from engineering, accounting, lawyer, doctor, nurse, all of these kind of things. There's so many stuff out there, and obviously on the channel we'll hopefully trying to expose you guys to loads of different things that you might actually not know is there. I remember when I was going to university and I met someone doing golf management, I was like, huh? Is that a course? You paid $9,000 for that? But he's enjoying life now, ain't he? So there's loads of different things, and you'll find that if you look hard enough, that you find it. So make sure that whatever career you're doing, you think about plan A, think about plan B, think about whether it aligns with your interests, but then also think about whether you have the skills to do that. Some of you may have to choose to go for your skills, some of you may have to choose to go for your interests. See how you bridge that gap. And then some of you, depending on the overarching big goal you have in terms of your passions, in terms of I want to change the world, I want to change my community, I want to have a small bakery, I want to open my shop, I want to have a little business, whatever that goal is, then your whatever career you choose should feed into you supporting that. And then ultimately, I hope that you succeed and just, build the skills around it. Obviously, within your career, you got to think about the fundamentals, your communication skills, your organizational skills, your ability to lead, your ability to be led, the ability to have some initiative, a self-starter, a self-motivator, whether you're extrovert, introvert, how do you communicate, how do you interact, and how do you get things done. But ultimately, as you go along, the main thing you want to understand is how do you like to work, how do you like to learn, and how do you like to add value, because ultimately that's all we're going to be doing. Whether regardless of what career you do, you'll be helping a lot of different people, either directly or indirectly, but ultimately you also be helping yourself. So how about you help us? Hit the like button, subscribe, comment if you have any questions, and let me know if this gave you guys a little bit of insight, just bouncing it off. The career thing is not a definite, this is what you need to do, but it's just the things you need to consider and just think about it. Take the time to actually think about it. Don't just go on Google and just say, oh, what jobs pays the most, or what's the highest paying and stuff. That's how people got into certain jobs with it. I know some people will Google it. 1 year was chemical engineering, 1 year was dentistry, 1 year was different things. People just jump into it, and then that's how people chose their situation. Or some people chose to be a teacher because they wanted to, they like, my sister was, I remember she said she wanted to be a teacher because she liked how they drink tea. So, whatever reason you have, use your heart and your brain, let them meet and go into it, and then decide that way. But understand that you have to make a decision in terms of whatever point you are now. So don't waste too much time saying I'm trying to understand what I want to do. You're never going to truly understand what you're trying to do with your life. Make a decision for now, for at least the next 3 to 5 years. Think about a longer term plan and how it feeds into it, but don't be afraid to change and jump from that. So tomorrow, you might see me in Canary Wharf. Tomorrow you might see me in Middle East. Although I did tell people that if you saw me there, I'm probably there for the P, but the experience too. But either way, guys, you have to be ready to change, and your career is not definite, but ultimately understand at some point you may not be able to chase your passion because the bills are chasing you. So do what you gotta do now, and hopefully everything works out for you. Have a blessed day. Hopefully we've helped you out here. Tickzon Mentorship Scheme. My name has been Ugo. Bye.